Hello, my sewing friends. This is my collaboration with Madi from Madi Sews. I'm Jen, and this is the room where the swimsuits got made. Yes, I'm so excited to share with you this collaboration that I've done with Madi from Madi Sews. Madi and I got together about a month ago and had lunch with our good friend Carmen Salome, and we talked about all kinds of things. We walked on the beach, we had a great time, and she and I decided that we wanted to do a collaboration since I wanted to start making some swimsuits and she's been making swimsuits. So I'm going to link some videos that she did on making swimsuits. She kind of did a series down below. And she has a lot to say about how swimsuits get made. So I'm going to direct you over to her video also right after you watch this one. So we've both been making one-piece swimsuits. She, because she just wanted to try out the process and kind of refine it, and me because I swim laps, and racing suits can get expensive. I have to buy them about every, 6 months or so because they tend to wear out because chlorine tends to break down the fibers. So that's why I wanted to do this. But when I spoke with Madi, she said, hey, let's try a two-piece, like a bikini. Well, I have never worn bikinis because I am short-waisted and I've always carried weight here around my waist. And so the style of bodies back then was to be very thin, very flat, and a little bit curvy, but not too much, kind of a boyish figure, which is ridiculous because who has a figure like that? Not very many people. Well, since then, you see all kinds of shapes and sizes on the beach, and all in two-piece swimsuits, which I think is fantastic. So I was excited about this challenge because we each made a two-piece swimsuit. I used McCalls 5400, and I used View E for the top. The pattern is from 2007. So I found mine on Etsy. If you want to try and find it, you can do that. But probably there are indie patterns that will have this style of swimsuit. And I liked it because it's kind of like an elongated bra. It comes down pretty far. It comes down to, right about my belly button. And then I used McCalls 7417 for the bottoms. And I really like this pattern. This is a fairly new pattern. It is from 2016. Okay, so I got my fabric from Spandex by the Yard. And I found that because I went to Spandex World, which was recommended to me by Madi. And this fabric is a dream to work with. It is so nice. I didn't press even one seam. Finger pressing was all I needed. Here's the top with the straps. These tie behind my neck. And here are the bottoms. The thing I really like about these is that they are paneled. Like there's a front panel and then two side panels, and same in the back. And I think that gives you some shape and fit that you wouldn't otherwise have with just plain bottoms. These come up pretty high. There is only about maybe an inch between my waist and the bottom of this top. This top does not have any padding in it, nor does it have any kind of an underwire. But that was okay with me because I got the fit right finally. Okay, let's talk about the process because, oh my God. The challenge with this was to get this bra front to fit. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's just go through and I'll show you. I am a tracer, so I trace everything off. And I knew this is a multi-size pattern. And so if any of my girls liked it, I wanted to be able to use it. And probably they will, and probably I'll be making more suits. Okay, so this was the first one. This is just traced straight off the pattern. So I tried that one. I cut a size 14. Well, that didn't work. So I cut another one. And And the problem was this seam right here where it attaches to the lower part was coming up too high. And I don't like that. And I have that problem a lot with anything that has a dart or anything that is princess seamed. I always have to lower the apex, which is where you stick out the most in front. I always have to lower that about an inch. So I knew that. And I thought, well, okay, I could see what was happening. I thought I need more fabric down here at the bottom. So I scooped this out and I added an inch. Didn't matter. The same thing was happening. And I'm not exactly sure why, but that alteration did not work. It was still pulling up. So I talked with my friend Sharon, and she said, you know, maybe you want to do that with a full bust adjustment. And she is a pro at FBAs. So she showed me what to do, and I cut it all apart, traced it off again. I cut it all apart, did the whole FBA thing, did that. The fit was better, but it was still coming up. And I thought, what is going on here? So I tried it 2 more ways. I talked with Sharon again, and I said, what am I doing wrong? She said, well, if you already always lower that apex, why don't you just do that? You don't probably need the FBA, but just lower it. And I'm like, where do you find an apex on here? Well, you know what? I realized most of the time the apex for any big 4 pattern, at least, if you go straight across from the notches that are under your arm and you go straight across, that's usually where the apex is. So I did that. I went across and I drew the apex, and I think that's in the pattern envelope. So it was basically this with the apex lowered. Okay, and then I thought, well, what if I try that? Maybe I should try that with the FBA, with the apex lowered. So that was this. So, okay, this is 6 times I've made this thing. Well, in all the pictures I took, Sharon and I both agreed that the one that was a straight pattern, but with that apex lowered, was perfect. It worked perfectly. And so you can see from the photos that it really did. It made all the difference. So that's one thing I did, and something to keep in mind when you talk about doing a bra top like this. If you've ever fitted a bra, you'll know what to do immediately, but I never had. So that worked great. It lowered that seam enough to where it wasn't pulling up. Yes. Okay. Then I had no trouble at all. These went together like a dream. I made a size medium and they fit perfectly. The only thing about these that I wish I had done differently was make the elastic a little tighter, because they tend to want to pull up in the back, and not too much, but enough that I just think, I kind of wish I had done that. Now, I went off the pattern a lot because they want you to, for one thing, they want to make this lining like a standard lining. You attach it at the top and then it comes down, but I wanted this seam to be attached on the inside with the lining. So I just basically, for both pieces, treated the lining and the fabric as one piece. I used basically just a tricot lining. It's just white. That brings me to the fact that I want to tell you, if you serge your seams, which I did all around, if you do that, you're creating a lot of bulk. And so you want to be careful with that. I don't think there's really any way around it unless you don't want to serge the seam. Well, I mean, you're talking about 4 strands of thread, so that's just going to add bulk. And it was fine for this, but this is a fairly substantial spandex. So I'm glad I did it this way, because I think that on the one hand, it adds stability. On the other hand, it adds bulk, but that's why it's stable. So yeah, there's that. So where that comes into play the most is when you have a seam that you press over to one side after you've serged it, and then you try and go over top of it when you're doing your elastic, because essentially all you do with each edge is you attach the elastic and then you fold it and then you stitch it down. So, you know, in those places, I had to go slow because I didn't want to, you know, jam up my needle or anything like that. I did use a ballpoint needle. That's important with this kind of fabric because this fabric is knitted together. So what a ballpoint needle does is slides between the fibers rather than like a microtex needle, which is very, very sharp. And it's going to go through and pierce the fabric, which is fine if you're using a woven, but with a knit, it's better to use ballpoint. Okay, let's talk about elastic. I actually have 3 kinds of swimsuit elastic. I have clear, which looks like this. I have the rubbery kind, which I don't even remember where I got this. I think I got it to make bralettes, but it's like a rubber band. And then I got this when I ordered the spandex because it's a cotton elastic. It does have a lot of recovery, but it's, I don't know, with water, it says it's chlorine resistant. The great thing about this is that it's very, very easy to sew in. And if you have to unpick anything, then, you know, you're dealing with a cotton that has kind of a rubber, I think it's rubber, actually. I think this is a natural fiber thing. It has that inside to give it that recovery, but you can, I mean, it's fine. It's like, you can easily unpick it. Whereas, and Mari said this, with this kind of elastic, you're going to pierce through it and it'll just shred if you try and take it apart. You can't use it again. Okay, so when I did my elastic, I lowered the knife on my serger and then I just serged very close to the edge. I just ran the elastic around kind of like this. And I serged very close to the edge. And I just caught that elastic in that serger stitching. And because I had lowered my knife, I didn't run the risk of cutting into the elastic, which that's really important. If you're going to do it that way, you should do that. You don't have to do it that way. You can just zigzag it on. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted a more professional finish. So after I did that, then I used a twin needle to just top stitch. And what I like is that you get more of a cover stitch effect because this is what you see. When you use a twin needle, you get a zigzag look on the back, and that kind of blends in with the serged edge, and I like that because it looks neater to me. So I did that with all of my elastic. Now on the top, I didn't, this went together so quickly once I figured it out because, you know, all I did was sew it together. And, you know, once you do that, it's fine. Now, you know, I've had 5 kids and I'm 61, so I probably could use cups in this, but, you know, I found that it's fine. Because I put the lining in, I don't need extra coverage. And so this worked fine. I was really glad about that. One thing I want to tell you about this is that you shouldn't trust where the pattern says to place the straps. And in this case, I changed it. This is supposed to be one piece that just goes like over to here and behind your neck. And I didn't want that because I didn't trust that this was going to be long enough or short enough. I thought, yeah, I don't want to do that. I just want to tie it. So I inadvertently, I did this. I didn't realize I was doing it. I cut 2 pieces of this strap. So it was, actually, it worked in my favor. So when I put it on, I didn't like where the straps were, and I'd already sewn them in. I kind of wish I'd gone with, you know, trying it on and then placing the straps rather than putting them where the pattern said and then finding, no, I don't like that. Okay, so that's pretty much it on my experience with making a swimsuit, like a fashion swimsuit. You know what? You don't have to be afraid of this fabric. It's not hard to work with at all. Like I said, it's just kind of a dream. I mean, it will lay flat. It catches under your sewing machine just fine. It's really not any different than any knit other than the fact that it's smoother and it behaves more like a woven, to be honest. So don't be afraid of that. And don't be afraid of putting in this elastic. It's so easy. All you do is put it along the edge and stretch it a little bit as you go. So if you've gathered with elastic, if you put elastic along the edge of any kind of piece of clothing, it's a breeze. It's so easy. And even more, you have a stable edge to work with when you put this elastic in. So It's not going to slip and slide and, all that kind of thing. Now, keep in mind that not all spandex fabrics are going to be the same. This is different from this. But still, this isn't hard to work with. And the great thing is, you talk about instant gratification, this can be done in an afternoon. Actually, the whole thing can. Really, it's not complicated. I mean, it's simple pieces. So especially if you make a bikini, you're just making the little bra top and the bottoms. I mean, simple. So don't be afraid of swimsuits. Don't be afraid of swimsuit fabric. It's just so easy. And actually, I'm looking forward to making another one of these. I have 2 more pieces of fabric, and I do know I want to make a racing suit out of one, but heck, I'd make another one of these in a heartbeat. So yeah, I am so pleased with this whole process. I'm so glad I did this with Monty. I know her suit is just so cool looking. She looks great in a suit anyway, because that girl has the body for a swimsuit. She truly does. So highly recommend this pattern and this pattern in case you can get it to fit. Anytime you're fitting a bust line, it's tricky because everybody has a different one. So your mileage may vary. I would strongly suggest that you check out some indie patterns too for swimsuits. And if you are full busted, check out Cashmerette, because I know that they are a company that specifically caters to a large bust. So yeah, I am so happy that I did this. Be sure and check out Maddie's video. And if you'd like to see what I made to go over this swimsuit, which was one of my frugal frocks, then check right here. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.